Hello, all you infinite moguls. This is Dr. T, and I'm coming to you to share with you about the reality of reality. And this channel is all about making reality clear, easy, wealthy, luxurious, and fabulous, and really having everyone understand how reality flows and how to be in your highest frequency, therefore creating your highest reality, which creates that for everyone around you. So, this channel is dedicated to elevating everyone's frequency so that all of us together can be in a higher flow state. And while I do many transformations through my transformation companies, which include the Reality Company, the Empire Company, the Dynasty Company, and the Power Couple Company, this channel is dedicated to helping you understand the flow of reality, what it is to be in high frequency, and how to make a wealthy reality for you and everyone around you. So I am Tracy Elizabeth Thomas. I am Dr. T to a lot of people, Dr. Tracy to some people. And I am many things. And one of them is a Wall Street Journal bestselling author for transformation books, all about the flow of intentionality and higher reality. I am also a psychologist, but more than that, more than just the psyche, I'm really an expert on reality, and I'm much more of a reality scientist who studies the laws of physics and the principles of reality and then translates those and makes it easier for everybody. And my various companies within the larger reality company are designed to help you create a higher reality through elevating your frequency and operating in a higher frequency reality and knowing how to do that so that you're in a flow state continuously and you can be a great receiver of all of the wealthy reality flowing to you, right? Of all the wealthy reality flowing to you. So, we're going to talk about reality and just start to simplify reality and make it so much simpler for everybody so that all of the paths that you take and the decisions that you make can come with an understanding that so you know how it works, how it flows, how to do it. And we remove all of the mystery and even the mysticism of it, and we make it accessible for everybody. This is a multi-dimensional reality field that we are all a part of. And while we've been taught that reality is more of a three-dimensional reality, what's referred to as 3D, there are so many more dimensions. There's 4D, 5D, there's 6D. There is an infinite amount of dimensions in the infinite reality field and in the universe, which is a infinite reality field that is beyond our comprehension at this current moment. But we're here to become enlightened about reality and how to receive it and how to flow it for your highest destiny. Because when you're in your highest reality, living out your highest destiny and living a purposeful, wealthy flow, everything around you is upgraded. And that is the main way that we can all raise the frequency of the world, which is our number one priority. And that's what this really what this transformation company that I do, it's really a reality school for higher reality. So I want to go more into how reality works and really the truth is how it flows and start to really unpack this so that there's a strong sense of reality that you can know and just really orchestrate so much more simply and powerfully. Now, before I say more about that, I'll say more about myself so you know that I have many, many, many years of doing transformations and seeing and facilitating what works and puts people at a higher frequency. I also have many years of understanding who it is that is able to transform and upgrade, and the things that get in the way for certain people, and how to replace that so that everybody can make an upgrade into their higher frequency reality field, which, as you do this, will make a material reality more multidimensionally wealthy for you. And this is the point of everyone to ascend and awaken into the higher frequency realities, which is a place that I have a lot of familiarity with, doing this kind of transformation with people, where whatever it is that their reality is, if we raise the frequency of it as our primary strategy, it'll raise the whole thing. It'll make it a high frequency reality. It'll flow that to everybody. And most importantly, it'll flow it into you so that you are in a world that is a wealthy world for you, which makes it a wealthy world for we. Now, for those of you who have never heard of human design, I'm going to be introducing some of that as well on this channel. There'll be a lot about human design, the human design system, to help everybody understand the components of reality. So, human design, for those of you who are new to it, is a framework that helps us understand who somebody is, what they are, who they are, how it is that they flow reality, and their role in this entire operating system called our world and the universe as we know it. So it's about understanding our purpose, because this is not meant to be mysterious. And it's about being able to align with our role and live it out and live our highest self and our highest destiny. Therefore, being a contributor to creating the highest reality, because if you're down low in the frequency, you're dragging us down. And if you're high up, everybody's bringing everybody up together. And now we can accomplish something major, which is the elevation of the world, and all of the problems that we perceive are simply solved by a higher frequency in each being, and the way that that will make it around the world. So in the human design system, this is something that was downloaded by a person for years and years, just the way that all books are coming into this person, allowing the download to come in. And this person who downloaded the human design system really was able to help us all understand how our infrastructure is. What are the components of it? What are people made of? What are people's role? How does it all fit together? And again, it's here to make it clear. And the human design system is something that I encourage everybody to know, because this is the key to understanding how reality is and to making it flow for you and everyone else. So, in the human design system, it separates us all into 5 different types of humans. And that is the manifester, which are people whose primary role is to inform, and inform verbally, and manifest reality through their directions, through their information. And then there are the generators, and the generators are designed to work and to build. And they are here as the builders of these realities. So the manifestors give the information, the generators create and build, and it creates more material creation, more multidimensional reality. These uh, aspects of being human have been around for centuries, by the way. So if it's new for you, this is something that has been in play for a long time. So we have the manifestors and the generators. And then there are the manifesting generators, and this is a combination and what's referred to as a multi-hyphenate. And these are people that can both manifest, they can both inform about the reality and speak it into reality, and then they can generate it, because generators have a motor, and none of the other types of human beings have a motor running. Everyone else is in the generator reality. So manifesting generators can both speak it into existence and build it into existence. They can start and finish and complete new realities into this material realm. And again, I want to say that 70% of the world is generators, either generators or manifesting generators. And there is 9-10% of the world are manifestors. The fourth kind is a reflector, and that is just 1% of the population. And reflectors are people who evaluate the reality. That's why there's only 1% of them, because their job is just to say, upgrade here, upgrade there. They are evaluators, and their system is constantly giving the information of whether something is higher or lower and that it needs to be higher. They are the great evaluators of the world. There is 1% of them. There is only, I think, 8 million of them in the world, which is small, or 800 million, sorry, 800 million of them. So then there are the projectors, and the projectors, which is what I am, are the success mechanisms of the world, meaning they bring about the frequency of success. So while the manifestors are bringing the ideas through and speaking them into existence, the generators are building. It is the projectors who are making the process more successful and more efficient by upgrading the way in which people utilize their energy and create new realities. So, projectors are the newest kind of human, and their kind was first seen around the time of Thomas Edison, who is also a projector, and he is perhaps one of the most famous ones, as he brought us into the light and where we could have light on 24/7, and he illuminated the world. He followed his projector destiny and he stayed with it because he came into the world, as projectors do, as a success mechanism. And the frequency of success is light. It is making everything lighter, more flowing, more efficient, and it is illuminating the world into a higher frequency. So projectors, they are here to raise the frequency of reality into the success frequency so that instead of everything feeling difficult, it feels elevated and lighter and more flowing. So projectors are the people that can spot when there is a lack of flow or a low frequency reality, the same thing. And they can ultimately give a direction that now is going to upgrade that frequency into a higher one, elevate the reality, have a higher frequency, higher efficiency, and ultimately projectors are here creating flow. And they have a very specific mission, and there are only 20 to 22% of them in the world. So the 80-20 rule is in play, where 80% of the people are being upgraded by the 20%. It's the 80-20 rule, where if you have the 20% that are projectors, and by the way, the whole point is for everybody to understand that and make sure that they have a projector in their reality that is upgrading it to a success frequency. And the projectors are 100% meant to just absolutely hang out in the reality, give the upgrades for the higher frequency, and create the flow state that allows the wealthiest, lightest, most infinite, very wealthy frequency to come in. And this is amazingly available to everyone. And so, as a human projector, I have a lifetime, this particular lifetime, as one who has constantly, continuously, and in the greatest devotion and commitment, almost religiously and obsessively, been elevating reality, the one that I'm in and the one around me and people around me and clients, and doing transformational upgrades for a lifetime. Now, I also have a history of doing this professionally for many, many years, and I'm sharing this with you about myself so you know who I am and how I make things flow and how that can flow for you. So, I have always been a projector, always been elevating reality, and I have been always knowing when something is low frequency because I get a response that is bitterness, which just tells me it's too low, it's not success. And it prompts me to raise the frequency of that moment, raise the frequency of myself and everything around me and everyone. And it allows it to go up. And it only can go up if people receive it. And in reality, the way reality flows is that you can only receive it if you're in a high enough frequency, which is a receiving frequency, and people who can receive the infinite flow of wealth. So, being a projector, I have spent many years in different roles in the corporate world, elevating managers into higher level executives, higher level directors, and CEOs, and people managing large territories of reality, of companies, but of reality, of course. I have been in some of the top Fortune 500 companies, elevating people, transforming them, and getting all of their potential out of them by raising their frequency and teaching them how to do that, teaching people how to create the reality that is wealthy and successful. I have been doing that as someone also who is a trained psychologist with a PhD in psychology and an MBA in business with organizational development as the focus. So, organizational development of the reality, having people be in a system that makes it wealthier, makes it better, makes it more flowing. How to make things into flow. That is my department. And I have had a very successful 7-figure company for a long time now, over 12 years of my long term career, with tons of expertise on creating a wealthy flow state and teaching individuals, couples, families, groups, companies, leaders, entrepreneurs, and people who want to be at their top level mogul selves, the people running top realities, empires, dynasties, wealthy realities of every kind. And this has been my focus and my experience. And as a projector, I have also in these processes of transforming people, while there is almost entirely all success stories, the couple of instances where I experienced people who, despite every attempt to upgrade them, they would not upgrade. I also have an extensive amount of expertise on what keeps people from upgrading the frequency that they're in, upgrading their reality, upgrading their wealth and their flow, living in a flow state, and making a great material reality for themselves and everybody that they care about. I have been able to see that and understand that. And I have a vast amount of knowledge about reality, transformation, frequency, and flow. So, as a transformation expert, it is my highest intention to help everybody understand reality and rock that reality as a great reality maker of great flow. Now, the other thing about me is that in my human design, as in all designs, I am someone who is a 5-1, and that is my role. That is a part, it's a part of the geometry of reality and the different designs of human beings. And I am a 5-1, which is a revolutionary scientist. So you can think of this as powerful, innovative, transformative scientist. So I am effectively a reality scientist, helping people make higher reality. I'm a reality maker. And I focus on that. This is my life's purpose. This is my mission. This is what I live. This is what I am. And you're invited to learn more about this, and you're invited to upgrade. So, in this channel, you'll learn more about human design and reality and how this all flows together and how it really is. And everybody has different roles and therefore archetypes or characters. And when you do your human design chart, when you have that done, which we're happy to do for you, when you have that done, you get to see the way you were created and designed to be and what your role is here in this world, in place of maybe what you thought it was or what someone told you that it was. And you get to understand your role and how to play it best and how to be in the highest destiny of it. So I'll speak more about your role in the archetypes, but just understanding the different aspects of reality are that each person has a design. And while we come through particular families and people and they bring us in and we create new people, we all know that we're part of one human family. And within that, there is a particular way that humans are designed, and there is a format to it, there is a system to it. And when you understand that, everything in reality starts to make sense and it starts to flow. So, connecting again with the fact that in this human system, even though we know everyone is unique and we say that, we don't really know exactly what that actually means in the reality of what goes on within a human and how that makes their world and what goes on with that. So we just want to understand that each of us in this world is either part of the manifestor family, the generator family, the manifesting generator family, the reflector family, or the projector family. And whatever your role is in that, the idea is that you align with it, you know it intimately, you know it perfectly, and you can play this role and give the top Academy Award winning gold medal champion performance of being yourself and being a great reality maker and creating this world, because that's what's happening right now. But you can participate and contribute at the level that you were designed to do, which is great. So, as a projector and a reality scientist, a reality maker, and all the different things that I do as an author, as a trainer, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, transformation and elevating people's states through various protocols and various methodology that is all based in the concept of intentionality so that we're at a much higher state, which is very important because the average in humanity is a 200 frequency, which is very low. And our intention is to be at least up in the 1000 frequency of light. And that opens up everything beyond that realm. So, understanding your human design is really important. And there's a link here in this video where you can click, go to our site, and you can get your human design chart and start to know what you are and who you are. It's a combination of things, and what it is that your role is. And so, with human design, there is ultimately what is true here, what is real, which is it helps explain and have people understand their energy system, because your energy system is the life force that is running you, and you are connected to the great universal source of infinite flow, and however you'd like to refer to it, divine energy, God, however you want to think of it, universal energy, the universe, the flow. You are connected to that. And it is a matter for each person of how connected they are to it, or if they're too low in the frequency, down in a lower level, then you struggle to feel it. And the way reality is that if you're in a low frequency, you are maybe not even really alive. And this is how people end up decaying, getting disease, getting sick, living well below the actual feeling of being alive, and living more of a dead existence of pain and suffering. This is be in the low frequencies, the feeling of being in hell and just suffering in it with a few bright moments of goodness. But the higher frequencies are where all the multidimensional reality is, and the infinite flow of wealth that some of the people in humanity have been able to tap into and receive it and flow it to the rest of us. So the way reality is when you're in the highest frequency and you know how to upgrade yourself there, stay there, live there continuously in a flow state, you then receive everything that is flow. However, if you're down in a low frequency, you receive everything of the low frequency, because that is what your receiving station is a low frequency receiving station. So we want to raise that up right now to having you become a high frequency receiving station of flow, so that all the amazing universal energy that flows to you is the kind that feels amazing, fabulous, wonderful, rich, and just absolutely wealthy and luxurious. That's the dimensions. Those are the dimensions we want to tap into. We want to open ourselves up to, and we want to be able to take our current frequency and we want to raise it high, high, high up until we are at least at 1,000 frequency flow. This is the flow of light where everything can flow easily. Upgrades can be there, upgraded reality, higher realm, more expansive, more space, allows you to take up more space in the world, in the universe. This is the expansive reality flow. This is why some people can just create massive realities that are bigger than countries. And they can do this because they're top reality makers and they have high frequency, and they have the ability to bring people together around an intentionality, an intention, a reality, an intentional reality, and connect them to that and co-create it together. So some people can create more expansive realities because they're higher in flow, they're higher in the frequency, they're more connected to that reality, and some people are creating something else. So we want to be up at the top frequency. And out of all the things that a person could ever do for themselves, the number one thing they could do is learn how to raise their frequency to the frequency of flow, of light and ease and infinite resources that just come to you easily in the now. We have to have a relationship with that. We have to have a relationship with reality, because most people are operating in the dark and don't really know how it works. And that is also part of understanding reality, is that there are many people in the world, as you can see with all of the influencers and positivity, that want to invite everybody into a flow state and a high frequency reality now. And there are some in the world who have all of this capacity and like to maintain that and grow it more and more for themselves so the world represents what they want. And yet, we all have the ability, wherever we've come from, wherever we are, to raise our frequency higher than anyone currently has it in the world right now. So, raising frequency is your number one priority above everything else. And it's the number one strategy that exists in the world. It is something that will elevate you on every level. It will allow you to receive flow. It will radiate prosperity out to everyone else. And it will create what ends up being your reality feedback loop. All right. So everybody continue to stay with me in this reality scope that we're in and connecting again to human design, which is what we're doing with this channel. Really connecting into an elevated reality, connecting into how human design and what we are plays a role in everything and creates everything. One thing to understand is that we live in a world that is 70% generators, and they are the ones who are the builders, and they are the ones that are driving the way the world is because they have motors and the other types don't have that. The other types are effectively floating around in the reality field of the generators. And the generators, as we know, they have for centuries built the material world. They've built and built and built and built. And the projectors were added so that we could get out of what had been really dark ages and we could have an illumination of reality. We could now have it feel better. We could now have it feel lighter. We could now be awakened to a higher frequency. So projectors have the highest frequency of any type, and they have a range that they can go to that makes sure they can illuminate anybody at any level into a higher frequency and to upgrade them into flow at any moment. So, the way we've got the world, everybody is sort of giving advice and programming you and conditioning you from the time you're born to be like a generator. And you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Everything is work, everything is effort, do, 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 do. And it's a generator world because we needed to build things and we built them. However, because the world is still at a low frequency, we now need the world we have. We don't really need to build that much more stuff. We need to elevate the frequency and have the projectors and all of the people that are willing to be at a high level upgrade. So the projectors are upgrading people and everybody is open to upgrading. So if you're doing that right now, you're changing the world immediately right now. So the generators are the ones that keep building things and they keep making reality more things that we have to do, 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 do. They are the ones that is hard work is everything. And they are also the ones that because they think the world is like them, they give the advice that this is just what you do. You have to do this, 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 and this. And then we've all been programmed to follow the generator world, even though 30% of the population is either a projector, a reflector, or a manifester. And we have these various roles. And when we all play our role correctly and we are able to be supported in that role, then the world would be operating as it's intended because evolution is bringing in this variety of people in order that we all play a role in the system. We are a system. That's what we are. And yet, the blind spot is that if everybody gets the advice that is for manifesting generators or generators, the generators of the world, we'll keep going on a track that is constantly having to have us do more stuff rather than the track that says, in order to have more, to experience more, we have to elevate the frequency versus just building more stuff and doing more stuff. You can only do so much stuff and it doesn't always raise your frequency, but you can raise your frequency And that always raises your frequency. And then that makes a new reality that doesn't require so much doing and working. It makes it a flow state. And that is what projectors do. And that is what so many millions of humans do, because depending on your energy system, which you can see if you go to our website that is in the link here for this video, and you check your human design, you can also see how your energy system looks. And in our energy system, some people are open, some people are more defined or have closed aspects of their energy system that are always the same. And some people are mixed. And there can be generators that have lots more definition in their energy system and they just always stay the same. And there can be generators that are very open and they can be much higher level frequency than other generators. The same is true for all the types. The more definition we have in our energy system, the more effectively heavy we are, the more material reality we focus on. The lighter we are in our energy system, the more we are able to be light and lighten other people up in the frequency and live in a lighter state where all of the universal force of energy is coming to us, giving itself to us, so that instead of feeling dead down in the lower frequency, we can feel alive in the higher frequency of flow where life exists and where life can grow and where it can be super wealthy. And where, when we program that, then all we do is flow that and it creates itself in the material realm. And that's really, really exciting. So, whatever type we are here to raise our frequency, the frequency of each other, the frequency of the we, and the frequency of the world, all one thing. And everybody thinks they have to go do 5 trillion things. However, it is the number one thing, the primary thing, the priority that is at the top of the hierarchy, which is if you raise your frequency, the entire world changes. And then we don't have to do so many things anymore. We will just be them. And instead of being human beings, we are more accurately lumen beings who get lighter and lighter and more luminous and more flowing and more wealthy, more luxurious and more easy. So it's very important to raise frequency. That is the video game for reality. And that video game, no matter what anyone tells you, is a priority. The number one thing is to raise your frequency. It is essential, and it is the way that you stay out of frequencies that create all kinds of things that we look at and see as the issues in the world. But at the higher frequencies, there is no illness, there is no disease, there is no suffering. And we don't need all of the things that we think we need here. Because in reality, if you look at reality close enough, you'll see that everything we do is designed and attempting to raise our frequency so we can get out of this low 200 frequency that feels so crappy, because some people are well below that and some people are much, much higher. And it's having everybody be higher in frequency will have everybody be higher in a wealthy reality. And this is key. So, my role and the focus of this channel is to teach you reality, how to raise your frequency, how to build your wealthiest reality, being a top mogul of your empire or dynasty, and living out your top destiny, fulfilling your potential, and creating a legacy of flow that continues beyond this earthly body that you're in right now. That is the focus of this channel, and every video, everything that is put out is an attempt for everyone to have their frequency raised, which also is wonderful because that's the world I'd like to live into, a higher frequency of flow. I do this because this is my purpose, and this is a way to create flow through this circuitry, through this video, and yet it only allows flow and flow to exist then in your world this way if you receive the flow, share the flow, co-create the flow, and together we create a high frequency reality through all of this connection that we have together and the one that we build, the community that we build of frequency raising flow makers here who want to live in the wealthiest reality and the luxurious flow of infinity. And this is a very practical thing because when your frequency is up, your material reality flows, it makes itself, it does it for you, through you, and all the things you keep thinking you have to do, all these other things. It's not the doing as much as the being in the high frequency that will do stuff for you. It will do it for you. Because if you're making reality with all the doing, but you're too far down the frequency, then you'll create that materially. But if you're high up the frequency, and as you approach making your reality, as the high frequency is making reality through you, you will then be this filter with which the energy of the universe comes through you, picks up on your programming that is super intentionally high, your intentions that are high, and then it makes that reality into the material realm and you see it before your eyes and you have it multidimensionally. That's how all of reality is being made. And this is really important. So I want to go into this even more to help you understand that every moment of every day, the universe, the galaxy, and our solar system is moving and grooving and flowing and giving us intelligence, making a reality come through us as we are components in the system. All right, everyone, continue to follow on this. Very important. So every moment, the solar system, the planets, they are doing a program. We are all effectively in a group program in this channel. And what we do here is effectively helping you understand all of this. We are a collective. We are in a world that is a group program running. Some refer to it as Earth School. And that reality is being orchestrated every day, and programming comes in to each of us. And if we are in a higher frequency, we receive the higher programming, and therefore we receive the higher reality. And if we are in a lower frequency, the same is true. That's why people keep making the same thing. And the people at the higher level keep making more and more higher level reality flow. So again, it's a number one priority. So understanding that you are always a reality maker, and reality and the whole infinite flow of energy is flowing to you. And if you are in connection with it in a higher frequency, you feel complete flow and you breathe fully, you're completely oxygenated, you're energized, and the opposite is true. So your human design it's got programming to it. It is an infrastructure, your energy system, or some refer to as your nervous system. Your energy system is an infrastructure, and it makes your whole physiology flow and your whole reality flow. And it's an energy system. I think it's referred to as an aura. Just think of it as your own energy system or reality field. You have a field, it's your world within the world. And when the universal energy comes in every moment of every day, it's trying to get you to upgrade and connect to a higher reality. However, most people are so used to a lower reality, they just keep making more of that and they ignore the signals. But those who are tapped into the higher realms of flow, higher frequency, then they receive these directions and they keep getting to make more amazing things happen and more amazing experiences. And they keep receiving more intelligence and more wealth because they're tuned into it. And we know that people of a higher level and echelon, they are always tuning into higher level programming, and people of a lower echelon are tuning into a lower level of programming. And many people have a theory that uh, the wealthiest of the wealthiest are programming themselves constantly with what is great for them. And then as they run all these big empires and dynasties, they are programming everyone else for something lower and then asking you to advertising to you so you will buy something to make it higher. However, your frequency and learning how to do it is your number one priority and the number one thing to be investing in because it trumps everything else. So higher level programming, higher level language, or what I call your vocabulary, your vocabulary that creates flow, creates that higher level of wealth. And we have an understanding that if you're in higher programming, you'll have higher wealth. If you're a lower program, you'll have lower. And yet people keep staying tuned in to lower level programming each and every day because it's coming from everywhere. And we've got to tune in, which is why it's good that you're here. Tune in to everything that is programming that is designed to create flow, that brings you up the frequency, which for this channel, every video does and is designed to do for you for flow. Transformation is your number one intention here. It's the number one way for elevation. Every other path will lead to more work rather than more flow. So flow is the intention. And this brings about the wealth. This brings about the luxury. This brings about the security. And this, again, is the way to go. So each type has all of the benefits of it. A manifester is informing. A generator is building. A reflector is reflecting and evaluating. And a projector is projecting a successful reality into being, into material form. Raising the frequency of success, projecting up, amplifying the wealth of the reality. That is what is occurring. However, each type in human design also has where once we dip too low in the frequency, it gives us a signal. And for manifestors, it's anger. And that's how they know they've gone too low. Time to upgrade and get into their intentions and get up into a reality flow. For generators, it's who are supposed to build, it's frustration. And if they hit that, they know they have gone too low in the frequency and they need an upgrade into flow. And for manifesting generators, it is they experience both frustration and anger if they're not in flow. And when they're in flow, we get both great manifestation and great generating of a reality. And reflectors with that evaluating, if they are not in a high frequency, they give resistance and nothing happens. And for projectors, if they are in a high frequency, everything is successful. And if they were in a low one, everything is bitter. So instead of success is bitterness, we want to replace bitterness with success. These are the key built-in parts of our design that allow each of us to know what to go toward. So we want to go toward what is higher and away from what is lower. However, we've been programmed, unfortunately, for the most part, for the opposite. And the masses are staying in low frequency and thinking that high frequency is too scary, when in reality, high frequency is the only rational thing to do. And low frequency is where the danger is. That's where all the problems are. So we must raise the frequency. That is how we will raise the entire reality field and all the wealth in it. So that system is always on. And when we come in, we are, when we are created and come into being, we come in and we are being programmed, right? Whatever program is running in the universe where it's bringing in new people, bringing in new reality, another fresher, newer being that can follow these directions, it programs. And whether you're in the womb, you're newly out of the womb, what stage of life you are, it is constantly programming. And in the beginning years, where we are these clean slates of reality, although we have from every piece of information I've ever been given as a projector, coming in from other experiences and other dimensions, other experiences of being in different lifetimes, we effectively come in with a fresh start. And yet the programming of the world runs. The solar system does its thing, the planets align and move around. There's a program and directions. And from the time we're in this world, that program is running. And in the earliest of years, as it does every day, but this is the first time it does that, it imprints a reality upon us, a structure, information. It codes us and gives us our energetic DNA. This is through a process that refers to this as neutrinos, where as the universe and the solar system is running its program, it's sending codes of information and it deposits in our energy system. And when we are new in this world, and what they say is in the first 7 years, you're formed, that is because there's continuous layers of reality being programmed into you. And then it starts to cement itself because it's saturated you, you've been exposed to it. And therefore, there is this infrastructure that you're designed to be and what it's meant to make in this world. Because remember, the solar system is running and giving us these directions, and we're meant to then make that reality. However, when the programming of the world and the frequency is so low in so many people's childhoods, because it's low in the world, people can be exposed to so much low frequency programming that they can get cemented or fixed into that. Instead of being their highest self, people can become their lowest self. And this causes all the problems where the higher self gets to have all the fun. And the higher self and the real self is the self you were designed to be. And what the programming is from the time you came in, and every piece of information or coding it's referred to that it's been trying to give you and get you to do. Now, going further, I know this is feeling very scientific, so I'm inviting everybody to stay with me here in this understanding of what this channel is going to be supporting you in, which is the understanding of reality and elevating it, upgrading it into a wealthy one. So, as we get programmed, there is this self that has an entire life that they are meant to be flowing. They are meant to be experienced. They are meant to be making from the beginning. It doesn't matter what age something is, what someone is. And then there's the programming of the world and the great confusion of what's going on, which is why we're clearing it up here, which is why we're making a wealthy reality an opportunity for everyone to have through this channel. And ultimately, your real self is doing everything it can to emerge, exist, and be the one that has the reality that is based on the design that has been given to you. And yet, if you're programmed with too low frequency over any period of time, you can just become that reality. And therefore, you live out your lower self, or what's referred to as your not self. And then you create a low reality or the opposite reality. And then you're stuck. People can be stuck there rather than the fun of being fully settled and residing in a higher reality flow, which many people of the world are also doing. Okay. So our goal is to ascend in the frequency so our higher self can emerge. Delete the other old programming, replace it with the gold, amazing, flowing, wealthy programming of light and the highest realities and realms and dimensions, and have ourselves transformed so that that self, that higher self, is just absolutely getting to be the one that does everything, that gets to experience everything, that gets to be high in a more royal frequency versus the other. And you all know what that other one is, the other one means. So the good news is we can program anything. So along with the universe's programming that it's doing, we also have been given free will to program ourselves, and that programming of ourselves creates the reality that we see materially. And ideally, we create it and awaken to a more multidimensional reality flow. So we've got the universe's programming giving us all this divine intelligence. Its goal is only to have us in high frequency and activating the high frequency genes and expressing the top of the frequency and expressing that versus the stress of the lower frequency, or what's referred to maybe as the darker area or the shadow area, brings about and expresses the lowest expression of our genes, our energetic DNA. Because it's all just energy running this whole system. That's it. It's very powerful. So we're obviously here to be our higher self, and a higher frequency that creates a higher reality is essential for everybody. And so the rest of reality can start to take shape into what we know is essential and necessary for all. All right. So the people who are willing, as I know you are, to go into a higher frequency are the people who are ascending and the people who are going to change the frequency of the entire world. It's going to calm everything down. It's going to cool everything down. And it's going to make our home a high frequency royal realm. Now, this is really exciting, which is why we need to do things that are in the highest frequency and utilize all the techniques. And that's where I come in and my team and this channel, giving you those techniques. But it's very important that you are a receiver and co-creator of all of this flow, because it puts you in the circuitry of the flow, and flow will go where it will continue to flow. And if it can flow into you, upgrade you, and you flow it and you have it shared out in the world, it'll keep flowing through you. But if it gets blocked by you at once it hits you and you don't receive it, it will not come to you. It will go where people will receive it. Very important. This is a premise, making some people uber wealthy and some people just can't get out of the dark ages. So in the lightest, most expansive energy, it just ends up creating that material reality. And that's why certain people can have 300 businesses, because they are in a different frequency and they're experiencing all the benefits of that, where someone else might cannot be able to just even do one job. Other people are doing massive amounts of flow, because when you're in flow, it's not work, it's flow. So you're here to get into the high frequency flow. That's your invitation. Yeah, I'm going to show you with this graphic about reality and what's referred to as consciousness, the states of consciousness, and about what the different states are and the frequencies and the way those realities are experienced by us and what they make in the world. So to be clear, we want to be up here. We want to be at the 1,000 level frequency or beyond that, because at 1,000, it's going to reveal what what is beyond that. But this is what we're being shown so far. And this graph is the Hawkins frequency scale developed by Dr. David Hawkins, who was working his whole life to transcend these lower levels and get into the higher states and help everybody understand this framework. So at the higher self, up here, we're in the higher self. This is all frequency. We start to go up beyond the lower frequency. Down here, we start to move up, start to get more into a higher self, start to move up here from the what's down here is either like the 0, the 10, the 20 frequency, which is so the 0 is death, 10, 20 is hell, purgatory, the lower ego self, it's a nightmare. Most people are living here. A bunch of people are living in here, and then it averages out so that we are typically at a 200 frequency, which is just about the level of courage. And everybody's just like courageously forging ahead in hell, courageously forging with a few people up in this area that are making the average even there so that we don't just burn ourselves up and extinguish ourselves. So all the people that are influencers and putting all this positive frequency, high frequency out into the world, trying to get everybody higher. And I think it needs to be explained even easier. So that's why I'm doing that. Everybody trying to bring everybody up, and including you when this is offered to you, is trying to get us out of this frequency where all of the bad stuff happens, all of the anger, the pride, the fear, all of this stuff. It goes down grief, apathy, guilt, shame, and ultimately death. So this is the victim consciousness, where the victims are also victim and abuser reality, basically. This is reality's happening to you. We want to get out of that right now. I want to move out of that. We go up the frequency, start to get into the 200s, then into the 300s, where we start to be more empowered. Now we can go on up into the frequency of light, or what's referred to on this planet as love. But we start getting into the light realm, and that the higher levels, it really is more about light versus just love, which is still down in the 400 or 500 frequency, where we want to be up in the 1,000. And then that will reveal to us what's beyond that. So this is happening all the time. We're all marinating in it. We are all experiencing whatever the average is. And the people like myself and like all of you who are here willing to upgrade yourself and committed to that, raise the whole thing so that we all get better and better. And the people who do nothing, because they're living in this and this makes them effectively feel like victims and not do anything. These people are pulling down. And if you're down here in this struggle, this is a very difficult thing to get out of. And the only way it's going to shift is you can't work your way out of it in the way that people traditionally think. You must upgrade your frequency higher and higher and higher up the frequency scale. And as you do that, and that strategy is the only strategy that makes sense, whichever way you go about it, whether someone goes into recovery, when someone goes into upgrade, someone goes into working on themselves, whatever it is, you'll notice every component of life is just adding to our frequency. So if you go to the spa, you're adding to your frequency. If you eat good food, you're adding your frequency. You're either adding, elevating it, or lowering it, depending on what you bring into your reality. And you're in a reality that you grew up in, and often people typically stay in that frequency, whatever else happens. So we really want to raise the frequency so that instead of staying where we are, we go to the highest levels, and we have the divinity, we have the infinity, we have just where we're at one with the luxury and the wealth and the fabulosity. And this is available to everyone. And it's the track. It is the method of reality. And we get up there by being in higher intentionality, which is way up here. Intentionality is up in this higher state. And when you're in intention, you bring in high components of reality, like your dreams, your all the beautiful creations, happy, healthy, wealthy, flowing empires and dynasties and moguls and magnates and tycoons and higher realities. And that starts to make our frequency go. All we have to do is go in there. All we have to do is connect with those things. And we start to go up the frequency, starts to raise our material reality. However, the challenge, everyone, is that in a generator world, we're thought to just connect with it for 2 seconds and then go do everything. But then it doesn't turn out the way we want. So we have to actually connect to it as our primary priority and reverse it. All of the doing needs to be replaced with the immersing in it so it can come into you and it will then do itself through you and it will make the reality happen. Because otherwise, we're getting a teeny idea, we're going and doing it, but we're staying in the same frequency. So the thing turns out to be the same frequency over and over again. That's the repeating of the pattern. So we want to raise on up our frequency so that we create a different reality. It's the primary strategy. It is the method. It is the flow method. It is the forward method. It is the upward method. And this is the focus of this channel. All right. Getting way up here and beyond into the infinity divinity realm, fully awake, fully alive, fully online. Your power and your wattage is on. And instead of going like this, you're actually just in a flow state continuously. And that right there is its own heaven on earth that I really invite everyone to immediately. Okay, so that has to do with the frequency. And evolution, the universal source of energy, is, and again, what you want to refer to it as, if the God energy, the divine source, the divine energy, the divine, uh, where that flow is flowing from and making us as itself. So we are basically the flow and it wants us to flow in synchronicity with it. It is always trying to upgrade us. But the glitch in the system we're changing is if it tries to give you this, but you're down here, it can't get in. You're not connected to the same channel of reality. But if you move yourself up here, you keep moving up here, then it'll give you more of itself. It'll keep bringing it in. Oh, there's more. Oh, you're in up here now? Oh, here's more of that. Here's more. It's a feedback loop either way. It's holographic. If you're down here, you'll see more of it holographically. If you're up here, you'll see more of it holographically. You're up here, you'll experience more of it holographically. So we want to hang out up here. And for anyone that is doing other priorities, thinking they're more important than this, there is this as the priority. This is what exists as the priority. This is the key solution, the key innovation, the method, and the strategy. This will, of its own accord, raising your frequency and what we're doing on this channel, going into states of flow and learning how to reside there eternally is really the connection here. This is the ultimate priority. This is the ultimate strategy, and you want to go all in. The invitation is a complete commitment to be at your highest self and operating in your human design as it is intended, which I'm going to show you in a second. Okay, so stay tuned because you're going to get these components of reality that are very important that you need to know. So you're flying with flow. Instead of flying blind, you're flying with everything you need to have in your mind. Okay. So we want everything to be in a higher state. Our language, what I call our flowcabulary, we want to go into a state of intentionality and make what is ultimately a conversion from a reactive reality and self and a lower self and a not self to a higher, more intentional reality, higher self, higher reality, higher flow. That's the entire video game. And the people who get there in the easiest, simplest way gain all the time, gain all the freedom, gain all the fabulosity, gain all the reality and get to make reality the way they intend instead of other people making the world and you don't like it the way they make it. This allows you to be an intentional reality maker up here instead of a reactive one, which just makes more of itself and stuff that bothers you anyway. You're up here, then you're just going to have that as your loop. It's going to keep running. More awesomeness, more infinity, more light, more wisdom, more fun, more celebration. Whatever we have, the laws of physics are, it'll make more of itself. So this is the invitation. This is the invitation. Because the higher frequency you get, the lighter you get, then you get more wealth flow to you because you're going to live in a lighter material reality. You're going to be given more energy to manage because you're good at managing it in a higher state. Because you're so good at being in a higher state, it's going to give you more flow and wealth and resources that come to you, the energy and the vitality because you're good at being up there. But you got to be up there. Okay, you got to be up there through intentionality, through what we're doing in this channel. So the more you are in your higher frequency, staying with this reality, the more material reality will flow to you. And then whatever you apply yourself to, it will be successful. It will create more millions and billions, and for some people, trillions and multi-generational wealth that is very expanding and then just like takes care of itself because it's just so much, it keeps making more of itself. Like in physics, something is bigger, it'll take up more room and it'll make even something even bigger because it just keeps expanding based on the fact that it's with itself. And that's why the more money people have, the more it doubles and triples and exponentially 10x's and 20x's because the more of it there is, it just keeps duplicating itself. So we want to be up in the exponential flow as receivers of exponential reality. We got to be able to handle that flow. And the only way you can handle it is from higher up in the frequency. Higher up there, you become a great steward of reality, a mogul of reality. And that's why all of our clients in our transformation programs are referred to as moguls, which you've heard the term as business moguls. This means great stewards of reality. And moguls are people who created opulent dynasties for generations and centuries. And ultimately, moguls, this is what we refer to all of our clients as because we're keeping that reality high. We're keeping their identity high. We want to at least be able to steward high wealth if we really want it. We have to be able to steward it. And the way you learn to steward it is by learning to raise your frequency to maintain it there, whatever's going on in the reality. And if you do that, it'll keep giving you more energy, more vitality, more wealth to steward because you're good at managing energy. And if you're good at managing energy, you're good at managing wealth. It's one and the same. And energy is, in fact, even higher than wealth. It is truly what it means is to have this. Because down here, you don't have enough. Up here, you do. Always have plenty. So we want to have that energy because it's the vitality to do anything at any moment, any way that we want. And this is the video game we're here to do. And anybody telling you that you should be distracted by other things is confused and confusing you and programmed in the way that the masses are, which is just distract yourself with all of this other stuff while we're over here compiling all the wealth for ourselves. Right? So we get programming that's like go get a job, and other people get programming which is to just create flowing wealth. Right? You get programming that's just like find a girlfriend, or you get programming that is create a power couple partnership. You get programming that's like start a business, or you get programming that is build an epic empire. You get programming that's like you have a family, or you get programming that is you create a multi-generational wealthy dynasty. Very different realities. The programming the vocabulary, the flowcabulary changes everything. It's a world, and it's characters that are higher characters, higher avatars. So I'm going to share with you more about the character and the avatar of you. But understanding this is the priority and starting to get into it, really love it, and start to be a player of the game of high frequency reality. Keeping in mind that you are surrounded by a bunch of people that are all over the place. And whatever you are with, whatever you see and experience, you become. So when they say like the 5 people closest to you, you become whatever it is that's around you. The laws of physics are object in motion stays in motion until acted upon by another force. So whatever your reality is will keep making more of itself. If you're hanging out with lower people, you'll get more lower people come in. If you're hanging out with higher people, more higher people will come in. Whatever you are around, there is no cheating the system. You will become. Doesn't matter if you love people, don't love people, whatever it is. If you love people, but they're low and they're potentially ignorant to this all, and they don't know what they're hanging out down here, you just become it. And then you just pass it around, and that's your world now. However, if you're up here, that becomes your world, and you don't care about any of this stuff anymore. You're up here. And now the way you interact with everybody is from up here. So you only then experience reality from up here. And everybody in your world will be on this frequency. It'll just make an alteration to that because you've oriented yourself to the higher realms. And in the higher realms, everything will be in a higher frequency, including anybody that is in your reality. So you go toward that. The goal is to orient to it because it's the only sane thing to do. It is the most secure thing to do. It is the essential thing to do. But understanding that if you let yourself be exposed to anything else, you just are it. You will have it. It's just the rules of the game. So you can invite people to elevate, but if they don't, your role is to flow up to here, raise that frequency. It's not about let me drag your ass from here. You got to get up here. Right? So the way that I help people, I used to hang out too much in where they were, but now I stay up here. Stay up here no matter what. They're down here, I'm up here. I'm up here. Boom, boom. I'm hanging up here. They tries, oh no, come down here with me. Wham, wham, wham. Nope, we're up here. Come join me here. I stay up here so they can be up there too. Because people down here are experts at inviting you in here. But no, we need to have all the experts up here inviting in here. Because when someone gets an invitation to rise up in the frequency, they are so fortunate, so lucky. It's a portal of opportunity, just like is happening with this channel and this video. So you want to take this portal of opportunity to rise up and know that you're to put yourself into a reality, whether in your inner space and whatever it is, so that everything you are conceptualizing, everything you're experiencing is of a higher frequency, a higher flow. That's how you will responsibly make a higher reality materially, and you will be making a contribution to this world. Anything else means you are taking from it, and up here you are adding to it and making it easier for everyone because you're doing your frequency at the level that it should be. Okay, so now you have a little bit more of a sense of what we're going to be connecting to in this channel, making sure that people can operate in the top levels, the moguls, the magnates, the tycoons, captains of industry, lady moguls, right? Everybody in empowerment, best-selling authors, New York Times bestsellers, revolutionary scientist, manifesting magnets of great magical realities, whatever it is, we want to be higher and higher and higher. The higher, the better. So anybody trying to, oh, and you should be down here, you should talk down. No, all the way up here, people. The better, the higher language, the higher reality. And yet people are not used to this. So you get used to it. That's my invitation for you. Get used to it and do it because you're producing reality with your vocabulary. I'm inviting it to be your flowcabulary, which I'm going to show you on this channel. Okay, so that's it for that part of frequency right now. Okay, now we also want to look at human design and how it works and what goes on. So this is a chart that shows human design. This is mine in particular. And this is connected to our birth date because that's the initial date that we started receiving programming from the universe outside our mom's womb. And even though we were being programmed in there the whole time, we're now that much more fully flowing in the reality out of the womb in our own self versus being a part of someone else's body. We become a self. The programming is happening. And at the moment of your birth, there is things that are coming in from the universe through the evolutionary process. These things get imprinted on you. They're called neutrinos. They go into your energy system. They make an energetic infrastructure that imprints on everyone and makes a system, an energy system like we see right here. Where, just to give you an idea, these are what are referred to in the energy system as open or closed centers. And in some parts of the world, they call them chakras. But I always believe that anything that simplifies understanding reality and what we're all doing with all of it is better. So this is an energy system that is running you, a large energy system, and you are part of that energy system. These are defined centers or characteristics of you that are more fixed and continuous. These are things that make up, this is always going to be that way. This is your crown area. This is where your brain is. This is your anja area. This is the idea and inspiration center. And if you're defined here, you will have a higher amount of this brain activity, a higher amount of inspiration, a higher amount of directions, and a higher amount of ideas of what we're supposed to do to make the frequency higher and better. And then we have the definition here. I've got it in this root grounding area. I've got it in the, can't think of this area right now, but this is one of our areas. This is intuition. This is our sacral center. I think this is ego. This is the heart center. And this is the throat center. What is this? This is the emotional center. Okay. So I'm defined in the emotional center. I'm defined in the grounded center. So I am always going to know what's going on in the field, what I'm feeling, what the vibration is. I'm always going to be feeling that. I have a feeling design that is also very defined and grounded and stable and structured from that point. So these things are always there, and these are always there. And then these are what are referred to as open centers. This is where reality is coming in and where you're able to take stuff in, and then these other parts of you do their job and help have you understand reality, know what to do, and effectively think of yourself as this filter, this operating filter, and reality flows through you. And whatever this is going on here, it'll make reality. It'll make your personality. It'll make your skills. It'll make your mastery level. And it's making the world. It's making you, you. And so when you're open, you are more sensitive to the energy coming in. Good news is you can receive all the great wealthy flow, high frequency flow. Bad news is you can receive the low frequency flow. So people that have more openings like I do here, these are people who know what's going on. And this shows that I know how to give the correct, intelligent directions and instructions that are grounded in both the emotional experience of it all and the structural reality of it all. And then where these yellow, you see these yellow openings that are in both parts, those are also where you are open in your closed centers. And the dark ones are where you are defined in your open centers. So you can have open centers that also have definition, and that makes you yourself, your personality, your reality. And you can have closed centers that have open, and they receive in. But know this is a system that is receiving reality in. And if the world is in a low frequency, then the open people get way too much of that. And then if the world is in a great frequency, or this person who is this, if anyone can make themselves into a higher frequency, then they're getting more high frequency coming in. It's that system. This is what helps me in particular. This is what makes me a human projector, is I can feel the reality, know if what's successful and what's not, give the successful upgrade, raise the frequency. And I just do that continuously as a mechanism, because the mechanism is always on. If anyone was open here, then they would always be receiving in intelligence that would be coming from anywhere they are exposed to. But if you're defined, then you've got more of like stable, solid intelligence is going to keep coming in. Ideas, inspiration, and that brain, that crown area is going to work at a very high level. However, if you're open here, you're taking it in and you're getting the information of the world that is way more like everything from everywhere. And then like me, I'm open here. So where someone else might be defined here, which would make them more of a manifester type, this opening means that my voice is speaking for the whole, because I'm taking in what's going on and what people are trying to say as things are not going well and we need an upgrade. Same thing for my heart. That's why my heart used to really break for a lot of what our world is, until I learned how to strengthen it. But this means that these people that are more open, and anywhere where you're more open, you take things in and you can upgrade them. But it also means that you can take things in and they impact you. So oftentimes people with more openings, projectors like myself, but anybody with more openings, can be severely impacted by what's going on in our world. And we want to make sure that we honor each of the human designs. So particularly, you can know, as a projector, I can feel what is going on and I can know what the top upgrades are to give. And then I'm able to, because it comes in, goes up here, and then this center right here gives me the logic, and it says, here is the way to go. Here's the path. It's the most logical, direct path, grounded in material reality here. And as a projector, to give you an example, I don't have a big motor, and there's different types of projectors, by the way. There's an energy projector, a self-projected projector, an ego projector. And I'm an energy projector, so that means I'm always giving lots of potent energy. And I have a teeny tiny motor in here, but if this was closed and a defined center, it mean I would have a big motor. So my role is to make sure the other types, the generators specifically, of course, the other projectors, and anyone that needs an upgrade is getting that upgrade. And yet at the same time, if you are all, if you had the darker colors here and you were all defined, you would be a generator. And as a generator, you're staying the same all the time, continuously, just working. That's what a generator is. People sometimes refer to that as the slave type, just building, 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 yet they're the ones that build all the amazing things. However, when it's time for them to upgrade, sometimes they can be challenged because they are so defined in all of their energy system that while they're making awesome reality, they too need to upgrade so that they're lighter and flowinger. And rather than if they don't upgrade, it's because you're always running into their definition. Their centers are defined. You bump up against it. And what we all love is that when we have flow with people, every single one of us feels better. We feel higher, more better things happen for the world. And generators who have been around for eons, centuries and centuries and eons, and we're so familiar with them, they are also the ones that feel heavier. That's why they can also move more matter, but they can also be heavier when it comes to upgrading the frequency. So projectors, other types, manifestors give the directions, reflectors are evaluating. Projectors are basically going, hey, you need an upgrade here, let's upgrade. Because when a generator is fully upgraded, it's like having the new version of the phone on an old model of the phone. It's as if you had a car that was 5,000 years old and you got a software update and it made it brand new. That's what's going on. That's why the projectors were brought in. Projectors are brought in order that everything would be upgraded in the frequency to a success frequency. So these are also our energetic DNA, and these all mean something and make up the components of what you are and who you are. This is the what you are. This is the how it flows, how it works. So it's hard to see here, but if we take, for example, that I have a 14 top design, that is called the prosperity lumen. And the power, this is the power design. So prosperity, power, all of that stuff, revolutionary prosperity, that is what I'm designed for. The 8 code right here is the influencer, revolutionary, influential prosperity. That's what the design is at the top. Over here, the how it is the revolutionary code over here, the 49. And the 4 code is the logic that says this is the way to go. All this stuff, complexity, boom, here's the direct route upward in the frequency, in the flow. The top 4 make up the character or our profile. Think of it as the character, think of it as the avatar. This is the type that we are. And the rest of the codes make up, and I'll share more about that. They make up who we are, how it does what it does, how we do what we do. And whatever these codes are, it's just like they say with our genetics. This is the same concept. Our energetics, this is a holographic genetics. Our energetics or genetics within us are happening also because the energy DNA is making your whole system run. It's what's making it happen. It's life itself. But all of these little circles here, the yellow that is here, the yellow and the black, these are, think of them almost as holes in you, where the energy's coming in, you absorb things. It either upgrades you or downgrades you. We want it to always upgrade, obviously. And it activates each of these codes that all have a meaning, which I'll show you as well. So stay tuned here. We're just making sure in this channel, you know what we're up to so that all the videos that happen keep giving you a sense of what we're doing and why, so that your whole being is completely in a high frequency, so that that's all this system has. Now, these different lines here are the ways in which your energy system flows and how it works. And these are also called channels. And these between these genes or codes or gates, as they're referred to, and these channels, your energy system is making reality over and over and over. But when it's in high frequency, you express the top of the genes. And when it's in low frequency, you express the bottom, or what's referred to as the shadow. We want to express the top because every gene has a super positive and the opposite is true, and a middle. So when you go to my website, The Empire Company, which is one of the parts of our overall reality company, you'll see the different aspects of what it is that you are. So I am a projector, and essentially this means a guide, an advisor, a manager, somebody that upgrades things. This is where all the coaches and the teachers come from. This is just mine, so it's helpful for you to know a little bit more about me. And projectors create a reality field, which is what this channel is. We create a higher reality field that's successful, and then people arrive to be upgraded. And that's how a projector's role literally is. Projectors are designed to hang out and be high, stay high in the frequency, and ultimately they're designed to create flow. They're masters of flow, and everything is about flow. Okay. And you're going to learn that everybody has an inner authority, which is either emotional or sacral. So I'm an emotional authority, which means that I know, and all my expertise comes through an emotional center that tells me, lets me feel everything, tells me what's going on. It's like if you see a certain type of animal or creature and they're kind of like sussing out the environment and what's going on, and they know which way to go and what they're good at, what their skill set is, this is how it is. So my inner authority is emotional, which just means another word for reality field. And I can feel what's in the field, and I know as an expert what needs to upgrade. Everybody has also a type of definition in their system, a type of structure is another way to say it. And people either have a single, split, or triple split definition, which means they either have one energy system, like it, which would be a single definition, and it's all one connected energy system, or they have a split definition, which makes them a multiple, multi-dimensional energy system where multiple more things are going on. And then when they connect with people with a single definition, it brings about the flow plus the dimension. So I'm a split definition. I have more dimension. I'm in more dimensions, basically. That's how I can bring them to you. Okay. Everyone has a profile. Think of it as your character in the story, in the movie, in the reality, your avatar. Everyone has one. Mine happens to be a 5-1, which is effectively a revolutionary scientist. I am an innovator. I create revolutionary reality. My role is to make a revolution in reality, and I'm making that through a revolution in high frequency. The 5 is the revolutionary, the 1 is the scientist. The 5 is much more, the first number is the way that you have a sense of yourself, that you are, in my case, it's revolutionary energy is very powerful. That's why my name is Tracy, which also means powerful one. And the 1 is the scientist, which is the expert on reality and somebody who is investigating reality. This is the investigator. And then the revolutionary takes that information and says, here's the revolutionary way to be. Here's the better high frequency way to be. It's better for everybody. We all also have what's called an incarnation cross. That's the first 4 of those codes that I showed you. And that's why even before I even knew about human design and this framework that explains reality the best that I've ever seen it, I already was an emotional scientist. I was the first emotional scientist in the world, and now there's programs for it. And studying the emotional process, but really I was studying reality. So it's more accurate to say I'm a reality scientist, even though I'm a psychologist that's well beyond the psyche. It's more of the study of reality. So Everybody has a profile, everybody has an avatar, everybody has a character that they're here to play in this go round in the video game. Everybody with the incarnation cross has the way their job or their role plays out. And they call it an incarnation cross because you're coming in and this is the job you're here to do. You incarnate here and this is the role that you are here to play. So think of this also as like this is your identity, and this the 5-1 is my identity, revolutionary scientist, and a revolutionary scientific expert on reality. And then the role plays out as the left angle cross of the revolution. And that means that whatever I'm seeing that is supposed to upgrade to a more successful frequency, I am here to innovate, transform, and make that revolution in reality happen. And the one that's clear for me is the frequency, is moving people into the success frequency, the wealth frequency. And that's why with the 5 part of my character, it's very powerful. That's why I ended up with the name Tracy, because even when we are in the womb, that design is happening and our parents can feel who we are, and then we get these names. They're not as accidental as we think. And then the 1 is that reality scientist. That's why my middle name is Elizabeth, which is really, this is thought of as a gift from God or God's promise. This is an expert, a reality expert who is at a higher level, who can explain how reality is. And there's millions of 5-1 people in this world. They are given the sense of understanding the data and knowing what to do with it. So this puts them in a high position, because it's very important. The scientists of this world, the revolutionary scientists of this world, are helping explain it, helping everybody navigate it, understand it, and make it better. So everyone has one of these roles. Just to give you an example, my dad, his role was the left angle cross of wishes, and this guy was all about granting the wishes for sure. And then everybody has a signature that is basically what they make in reality. And for me as a projector, it's success. This means it's all about success. It's all about being in success. It's all about helping other people be in success. That's the role. Where everybody wants to be in success, that's literally the role, is to take what people are manifesting, generating, manifesting and building, and make it at the successful level. Not just make it, but make it at the successful level. The not self theme, which is what tells us something is off, is bitterness in my case. And I'm just giving you this example of me so you can know that every single person has a chart like this that explains their particular way that their system works. And then everybody has a way of digesting information, which includes food. It includes digesting anything from the outside into your system. And my digestion is best when I'm in colder temperatures, colder food, and the conditions are just a bit cooler. But everybody has an ideal way that they take in information and the ideal conditions for those upgrades. And everybody has a design sense, and that is the sense of the way that we experience the world. And mine is security. Everything for mine is about making sure security exists. Everybody is in security, and I believe you're in security when you're in the high frequency and you're in the wealthy. And this is the priority for everyone because it's a foundation of this generator world, the way they've built it. My design sense, as I said, is feeling. So that means I can feel what the reality is and I can feel what it should be and give the upgrade, which is a feeling, which is an upgrade that I give people that makes the reality more successful. Everybody has a motivation. And these are all, by the way, everyone, levels of frequency as well. So my range starts at desire on that frequency scale. So this means for me, it's all about being in the desire for a higher reality and helping people with their desires. This is why I'm in the business of helping people get to their highest reality that they desire, highest frequency they desire. The perspective is wanting on my end. Everybody has a different one. And that means that I am aware of what people are wanting. And then as a projector, as a success mechanism, I know how to give it to them. But again, everybody has this. For some people, this is guilt. For some people, this is fear. For some people, this is insecurity. Just depends on the being, but it also means that each of this is putting us at a frequency. This means my minimum frequency is 125, where other people's minimum, they might have shame as a motivation. Their frequency starts at 20, which is really hard. And then everybody has an ideal environment with which their potential can thrive better and be expressed. Mine is shores and marketplaces. Shores where you're in one area that is one way and you can see out to the horizon and see the shore. At a minimum, my environment, my ideal environment is to see the shores and to be on the shores, like far East Coast, far West Coast. Um, and everybody has one: mountains, valleys, kitchens, caves. I think that's marketplaces. Yeah, and marketplaces. Yeah, and then everybody has these gates, like I told you about, those little openings up in the design that I showed you. Gene codes that we have. These are the 64 energetic gene codes. And then those codes and the way they interact with each other create channels. These are aspects of our system that how they work together. So a 6447 channel allows my system to create all the aha moments. So I say, this is what something is. Now you can upgrade it. 63.4 channel is about creating wealth so that everything that I give is creating wealth in people. And the 19 to 49 channel is about creating a revolution and leading a community to a higher frequency reality of pure intentionality. That is just giving you a sense of what's available to understand your human design, and that everyone has one, and that when you know yours and the other people around you and who you're interacting with, and you can make the best decisions, the best collaborations, because the whole point of all of this, everyone, is to create flow together. And when we flow together, everybody feels amazing, and the opposite is true. So we want to be in flow together. And when we understand all these things, then we can understand our mom, our dad, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, our partners, our kids, our coworkers. We can understand all of it, and we can make sure we're setting up ways of interacting and collaborating with the correct people. Otherwise, we end up collaborating with something too low, and we might be too low for other people, whatever it might be, and then we bump into each other's definition, like I showed you in those centers. But when you have the right flow, it's puzzle pieces fitting together that create more flow, because more flow is what high frequency is. More high frequency creates a whole flowing world instead of everybody banging up against each other and being in pain about that. So, and that's to say that if we're down in the frequency, we're in pain. If we're up in the higher frequency, we're in the gain, we're in the flow. Okay, so that's more about human design. And okay, and just to show you an example of a generator, or this is a manifesting generator. This is actually a pretty famous person who I really love and I'm just absolutely in awe of. Um, but this, see, they're open up here. They've got the manifestor voice. They've got a defined voice. They've got a defined heart, which means it's easier for them to navigate because they don't get hurt in their heart as much as other people do. They have this amazing motor running. This is the sacral motor. and they've got the nice emotional definition. So they are able to be both a strong motor, powerful creator, reality maker, and they're also heartfelt, strong in feeling, strong in empathy. And then these are the areas that they're open and they receive in energy. And this system has a single flow. So the flow goes this way, actually. So the flow is really good. This person creates lots of flow, lots of wealth, lots of reality, and is really a great flow artist. Now, this person, I just skipped down here. This person has a single definition of flow, like I just said. This person is a 4-6, which is the regal or royal authority figure. This person has the 4, which is the opportunity constantly flows to them. The wealth and the riches flow to them. And the 6 is the exemplary human. So they are a role model. And effectively, this is the king avatar. This is a king of reality. And this person, with everything I can see, I'm very excited about for him, is on track to be one of the kings of the world and the most influential people. So, understanding that these different types exist is really important because otherwise, everybody's getting the same advice. And we need to know what our human design is. That's why I'm going to invite all of you to follow everything on this channel, but also take the step, go to the website. The link is in the video here. The one about human design, click on it and get your design and start to know what you are. So everyone's codes, which are those numbers that I showed you, have a medium and a high and a low frequency. When you're in the low frequency, it expresses the low part. The middle expresses the middle frequency, and the high expresses the highest reality. This is your highest self, highest identity, highest flow, highest wealth. So in my design, I'm just going to show you a few. My 14 code, which is my number one part. When I am at the top of the frequency, which is where I like to live and flow, I am in the prosperity, the bounteousness. This is also considered the power code. And this is all the prosperity. This is thought to be the prosperity lumen. The middle frequency is competence. So if you're in the middle frequency, I showed you the frequency scale, it's going to express competence and everything. If you're in the bottom, way down there that I showed you, it's going to express compromise. So I always know if it's too low, it's going to try to make me compromise my frequency, and I stay in the high frequency. Just like this other code here, which is the 8 code, which is influence when it's the highest frequency, style in the middle. There's an elegance about this gene code, and then mediocrity in the low frequency. If I'm around low frequency, it'll be the mediocrity. Another one is the grace. If I'm in high frequency, I'll be in grace, middle, graciousness. The bottom frequency is dishonor. So everyone has this set, and mine are everything to do with empires, dynasties, power couples, altruism, transformation. I have lots of transformation codes. I have several wealth codes, several transformation codes, the power couple code, the dynasty code. But on the other side of those, like the freedom code, on the other side of the freedom code is the victim. So if we're in low frequency, we'll express that. If we're in high frequency, we'll express the top. And so we can see everyone needs to be in high frequency. And whatever's going on with anyone else, forget about it. Your job is to ascend to the top. Now, here's some codes for a chart that I did of a very famous influencer. And this person has a lot more of the presence, majesty. This person is a kingly reality. So lots of kingly stuff. And as we move up, you can see that if he's in the higher frequency, he's in majesty and strength. Otherwise, the other side is these things. This person is a top influencer doing everything to awaken people. These just happen to be the codes. Fluorescence, naturalness, just a being. And yet the bottom of the codes, this can be expressed too. So this person has magnetism and fluorescence and grace and graciousness and style and influence, presence and self-assurance, transparency, intimacy. This person is an interviewer who has one of the top podcasts in the world. This person has empathy and discernment, but if the bottom of it would be this thing over here. This person is especially interesting because this person is on a very high ascension. This person has lots of ascension codes, ascension, aspiration, but at the bottom of it could be greed. This person is always on a show bringing out epiphanies. So I just happened to do his human design for him, and this is what it's showing me. So this person has so much, this is the king person, right? So of course it's fluorescence, magnetism, leadership, virtue, diplomacy. This person's trying to bring about peace for everybody. This person has everything about transformation, which is what he's doing. Empathy, his show is very much empathetic for everybody. More ascension and aspiration, more epiphany, virtue, and rebirth. This person is also, like myself, a revolutionary. So this person is doing all he can to bring about a revolution in reality as well. So I just wanted to give you that sense, everybody, of how much intricacy there is to understanding reality or human design, how it all works, and why we want the most high frequency reality. And we need to prioritize high frequency, which again is what this channel is all about. It's about putting you into the top frequency so you express the top of the codes, top reality, and your human design system can function at its top level, and therefore you'll have all that it's supposed to create. You'll live out your potential, create your beautiful empire, your family dynasties. You'll be power couples. These are what all my codes are for, by the way. You'll be power couples, and you'll be stewards, mogul level stewards, magnets, tycoons, all of this of your top reality. Because in this world that we live in, this generator world, it's all about that. And we all need to be really good at that at a minimum. And the good news is all it takes is elevating your frequency to the flow state and staying there. And for any of you that don't know how to do that yet, every video on this channel has been created to upgrade your frequency. It's the smartest thing you could do to go through each of them, to tune into them and take the upgrades that they're all giving you. So this is effectively like reality school. And whether you're just wanting to do it through the channel or maybe have your own transformation, our signature offering is our Moguls Club offering. Even though we do tons of private programs with people for transformation, our Moguls Club is our most accessible program, where we put people in a high frequency community, and transformation is done at the highest levels to bring about the highest reality and the wealthiest one. Okay, everyone. So thank you for tuning in. And I really look forward to raising the frequency with you, seeing you grow in all of this, seeing your reality transform, and us building a wealthier reality for yourself, for us, and for all. Thank you. Thank you for receiving this upgrade and coming into your higher mogul self. We call these, in our world, we call this moguling up. We call it upgrading, raising your frequency, getting into flow, and moguling up into your top level of reality making ability and capacity for you, for your partnerships, for your family, for your company, and for all. All right, everyone. Thanks.